Well, Mr. Michael Magnifici, welcome to the Joe Fosco Show.
A long time.
We haven't seen each other in a while.
Yes,
Really.
we haven't, and
Sometime
I'm glad we're back together.
Sometimes 2013. In 2013, I think.
Yeah, I think it was that time. And I'm glad we're back together to discuss some things and, talk about what, I like most is sports, so.
Well, I know that, right?
And whatever you'd like to talk about.
Do you want to discuss anything about the indifferences we had, or do you want to do that at a later time?
Well, if you'd like to air it out right now, we don't have differences right now, we're together. So obviously we don't. If there was an issue with that, we have taken care of that because we are together and, and you're my friend and,
I think we've resolved.
We resolved all of that.
issues.
There's no issue with that anymore. I don't think that's even worth talking about, to be honest with you.
Okay.
If you don't, if you would like to bring up something, I would be more than happy to
I think
address
that
it, but-
we both clearly are very forgiving people.
Yes.
And sometimes, I wish that some of the other people that we've had indifferences with were as forgiving as you and I, because some of the issues we've had over the years with other people, former associates of ours, really it all boils down to nonsense.
Yes. And probably some of the nonsense that you and I might have created, but nevertheless, some of the stuff they created also.
Well, I think I look at some of the things we did as reactionary to other people's
Very true.
issues.
Very true. We were, you could only be you can only react to the actions of others.
Yes.
And I believe that a lot of times, in our case, that was the case.
Sure.
That was case in point, that, we didn't want to react that way, but we did.
Right.
And, regretfully so, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, I wish I didn't.
We're certainly not happy about every decision we've ever
No,
made.
absolutely not, absolutely not.
But we're here.
We're here to talk.
How many guys aren't here anymore?
You and I are.
We're
You and I are here, and I'm anxious to talk about something that I know you're not incredibly versed in,
Right.
but is sports, and that's what I do want to talk about. Is
So what's going on in baseball with this new
what's
big
happening?
shot, Bob, what is his name?
Rob Manfred.
Rob Manfred.
Rob Manfred. He's the new commissioner of baseball, and he's got a big decision to make. That if he is going to allow Pete Rose to be on the ballot for the to see if he get in the Hall of Fame, which I have no idea why he's not. Let the it's a writer's thing. Most newspaper writers they vote on that stuff. Those are the guys that get you in or out of the Hall of Fame. I'd like to see what their opinion is. Okay, did he gamble on the game? Yes, he did.
Who are you talking about again?
Pete Rose.
Okay, I'm sorry, right.
Pete Rose. Did he gamble on baseball? Yes, he did. Did he ever tank his team? No, he didn't. I happen to know first-handedly that one of the guys that he met at, I believe it was Hialeah Racetrack in Florida, that he met there and got hooked up with him gambling, betting on games, that he never tanked his team.
Could it have been Gulfstream?
Might have been Gulfstream. I believe it was Hialeah, but both of those were like.
I think previously you may have estimated it was
Did I say it was Gulfstream?
And I think you mispronounced Gulfstream as Streamwood, or is there a Streamwood?
No, it's Gulfstream.
Okay, I think you meant to say a Gulfstream a couple of years ago.
That probably is true.
In fact, it was after the tape, I also remember you told me once the camera stopped rolling that you made a mistake and it was the latter. Hialeah
Yes. Racetrack.
Yes.
Hialeah was in South Miami. Gulfstream was like close. I believe Gulfstream was closer to northern
Hollywood?
Miami. No, northern Miami.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
And there was notorious for bookmakers and guys to be around there. Jimmy DeGreek, the legendary Jimmy DeGreek, first guy on ABC doing Monday Night Football. He was always there.
Yes.
He was there, and he almost became a friend of yours because you would just be there so often that, hey, Jimmy, how you doing? And he was a guy that would always say hello to you. He wasn't a stranger to giving you a hi or a bye, whatever. But Pete was always known as a gambler. Pete liked his horses, he liked to bet on the horses, he liked the, sports, but he never tanked his team.
Right, and you mentioned in the past that, and I think other places, this information is in other places, as well as what you told us in the past, that Dominic Basso was an outfit bookmaker stationed in Florida who belonged to the Chicago outfit, was the guy that Pete Rose gambled through. I remember when we did the sports podcast, I think it was June of 2013, you were somewhat very reluctant to actually divulge how it was that Dominic Basso was connected to the Chicago outfit. You just continued to generalize, and you kept saying, well, I know he did, and he belonged to us, and I was trying to pin it down to a name. Is there a guy, a person in the outfit that he dealt with? Are you still, is it still something you'd rather not talk about? And it's totally fine, Michael. I don't want to come off trying to compel you to
I wish that
answer.
you wouldn't.
Okay,
I prefer.
Let's leave it alone.
Discuss it.
Got it.
Dominic was a nice fellow.
Yes.
He was a nice guy.
Yes.
And he was a bookmaker. He knew his craft. He did very well with it. He took Pete off. And there is something that you could check in the archives, if you could bring it up on
The internet, of course.
the internet, of course, that Pete was being interviewed and they asked him about Dominic and he says, well, that guy sounds like he's from Chicago.
Yes.
Mentioning his name to him. Pete just said, Dominic Basso, well, he sounds like he's a Chicago guy, meaning that Dominic Basso, the very ethnic Italian name. And Pete was, he just said that. But Pete was a good guy. I mean, I know through, let me just say Dominic, that Pete was he only bet on his team to win. Did he bet 1,000 other games? Yes, he did. Did he bet other sports? Yes, he did. Pete was all over the board gambling.
I think back in 2013, you were somewhat reluctant to even acknowledge that you knew, is it Dominic Basso? Are you being a little more willing to tell us?
I didn't know him really well, to be honest with you.
see.
My reluctancy at that point was just the state of fact that
Now,
I really didn't.
without
I
mentioning-
knew of him. He was with
People that you
Yes.
were,
that I was affiliated with.
through the Chicago outfit. But we're not talking about their names. We're not, they remain nameless.
Right.
And,
People I met in Florida, and
Yeah.
that Dominic, had Pete.
Gotcha.
And,
no,
and Pete was a 2-dime, 3-dime a game better.
I
He
see.
bet 2,000 to 3,000 a game,
mhm.
and he bet. I know I'm getting all handsy here, but
It's all right. You remind me of the now late El Pomani with his Chicagoland area car dealer who was very,
very handsy. Yeah, I just don't have the nice sweaters on like he had.
Yeah.
I got on just my golf shirt, and that's all.
sure. You look great. You see, you got
No,
some sun.
yeah, well, that's probably my blood pressure, but
I don't think so.
I'm heavy, and
No,
next
I
time
know
we
what
do
to
this,
talk
I'm gonna
about.
be
You look
thinner.
great. You look
No, I wore black just to look a little
Yeah,
thin.
I dressed like an Easter egg today.
You look fantastic, buddy. You look fantastic.
Well, I'll say thank you, whether or not
No, I
it's
didn't, but,
legitimate.
no, it is legitimate. But, getting back to Pete, I think it would be a crime that if the new, Rob Manfred, if he does not allow Pete to at least be on the ballot, let's let the writers and the people that vote people into
Do
the
their
Hall of
job,
Fame
do their
do their
thing.
job. If they believe that he doesn't
Then give it to
belong,
him.
give it to, if they say, if they're, 2/3 of an A rather than a hay,
Then he doesn't
okay,
get it.
then he doesn't
Yeah,
get
right.
it. But at least put him on the ballot.
Sure.
He's not even eligible.
It's almost like you're saying, put the man on trial. If he's found guilty, he's guilty. If he's found
Let's see what
yeah.
happens. Now,
Sure.
you have, you have baseball players, you have Barry Bonds, most home runs in Major League history,
Yes.
okay? Does he deserve, he's on the ballot.
Yes.
Okay, now he gets a vote. Now, is he gonna get in? I don't believe Barry Bonds is gonna get, he's gonna get in at some time. I believe that he has to get in.
Sure.
I think Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before the steroids, before he jumped up and did everything. I
Right.
believe that he was. Roger Clemens, Hall of Famer before that, you know. It's amazing that in sports, that you don't have the guys coming clean and saying, okay, I did this, I messed up, which we are an all-forgiving society. We all forgive.
We should be.
Well,
Most of us are.
most of us are, and you forgive that. And you know, when like Andy Pettit, he came clean. He said, you know what, I did steroids, isn't it? Guy's beloved. He's going to get into the Hall of Fame before
Sure.
Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. He doesn't have nowhere near the records,
talent,
the
right.
talent that he's got. Although in his playoff performances, he's one of the best. But my dear friend Lawrence would always point that out to me, that Roger Clemens is one of the best.
Too bad. Do you think we could ever get Lawrence on a show?
Possibly.
I mean, he's very well versed in sports.
He knows more about sports than anybody I know. He knows where these fellas went to high school at, you know.
That's something.
He's very well versed in it. And my point being is, like, with a guy like Andy Pettit, that he was, after he admitted that he did this,
Yes.
he was beloved for just saying, okay, I messed up, I screwed up, I did it. Clemens took it all the way to Congress, and Barry Bonds, and, you know, even Mark McGuire, he took it to the, you know, to the highest level. And Rafael Palmeiro, another guy, did that, and his career has been screwed up. All of these guys that have said that they did it, they got jobs in the Major League Baseball.
Sure.
You know, what's his name? Jesus.
Wish I could help you, Mike.
I know, I'm messing up here.
No, you're not. You're
No.
not. You're doing great.
Barry Bonds is a pitching coach. I mean, a pitching coach. He's a hitting coach
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
I see. Yeah.
Okay, these guys all get back into the game.
Yeah.
You know, they all get back into it once they admit that what they did. Rafael Palmeiro never said, you know, I did not ever do steroid. He pointed
I
his
thought you were doing a
finger.
Bill Clinton impersonation.
No, I was doing Rafael Palmeiro, which kind of could be like maybe he was doing Bill Clinton. But he pointed his finger and said that I did not do that.
I see.
You know, I did not do steroids.
Right.
And people don't.
Maybe that's where Bill Clinton got that from. Who did it first?
Oh,
I
that
think
is
the
in
Clinton
90.
thing was in the mid-90s or late
That's about
90s.
this time.
Yeah, well, we'll have to look into it.
Yeah,
One of them copied the other.
we'll catch the dates. But go ahead, I'm sorry. I went on a rant and a rave.
No. Now, you know, sports related, I'm going to ask a very general question about your former business.
Okay.
As an outfit gaming czar, a bookmaker, etc., many years ago. Today, it's 2015. That's the year we're in. Where the hell, pardon my language, where is the revenue coming? How much revenue do you think hits the streets of Chicago through gaming, illegal gaming today?
Illegal?
Illegal.
I say very minimal.
Very minimal?
Yeah.
Percentages from when you were at the height of your career in, say, let's say 1990, or the early 1990s, or your father's career in the middle 1980s, from the middle 1980s to the early 1990s, the revenue stream that the Chicago outfit saw through gaming, particularly sports gaming, what percentage of that revenue do you think exists today?
Close to none. I don't think, no, seriously, I don't think, why would anybody in the world, if you had the money,
Yes.
the only person that would bet through the bookmaker down the block, just call him that guy, the bookmaker down the block,
Yes.
why would you bet through that guy when you could do it?
Well, there are people that don't have credit cards or credit.
Well, that means they have no money.
Okay.
So why would you want to take those
If you're the
people?
bookmaker, why would you want to take the guy that
You're
can't pay
getting the
it?
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
You know, today, they could go in there, they put up their credit card, they, you know, transfer money
Okay,
into
but
an account.
we do still have people that are alive or 75, 80 years old. They don't know how to turn a computer on, they don't believe in
I
credit
don't.
cards,
I don't,
but they have a lot of money.
right.
So it's probably those people that are still
Yeah,
around that are
you know, maybe
betting.
they like the old fashioned way that you call up a guy, you call up a Joe Fosco and you say, hey buddy, how you doing? I'm 201.
I was never in that line of
I know
work.
that, but I'm just,
Yeah.
hypothetical.
Yes.
I'm saying, hey,
Yeah, sure.
Hank, you know,
Right, yes.
this is 201, give me 200 a game, and I want the Bears -3, I want Cleveland -6, and I'll take Pittsburgh +8. Read those back and hook them in a $2 round robin.
Right.
You know, some guys like that personal.
Would you be willing to tell us what the best year you had, your office had in gambling in the 1980s or 90s? Okay, it's no. Very good. That's all you have to say is no. All right. It must have been a lot. Anyway.
Millions, no. I wish it was what people thought, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, we can get off that subject. I see you're not too
I'm
pleased
uncomfortable with that,
yeah,
so
okay.
if you don't mind that. But, you know, getting back to talking about the sports thing.
Yes.
There's so many avenues that people don't know that really, that it'd be so amazing to the powers that be that they wouldn't even think that, you know, these people were involved in gambling and this and that. It's just such an untapped source.
Now, so what we're thinking about today primarily is Pete Rose, and that he should be allowed an opportunity.
Oh, I definitely think that Pete
an
should
opportunity to be judged on
be
whether
judged.
or not
Right.
he should
He's
get
not
it.
even allowed to be judged.
Yeah.
And that's what's, you know, amazing to me. Pete should be allowed to be judged. Let the writers say, you know, and you know what? I got news for you. If Pete gets on the ballot, Pete's getting in the Hall of Fame.
Probably.
He's the, you know, he's the hits leader. I mean, he should be, Pete does everything in the world that, you know, is baseball. He is Charlie Hustle. They don't call a guy Charlie Hustle because he jogs down to first base with a walk. This guy sprinted to first base after he would get an intentional walk. He would sprint down there, and that's how he got the nickname. Man, that guy's a real Charlie Hustle. I think Ted Williams was the guy that gave him that. I could be wrong in that. Don't quote me on that, but somebody of, you know, some Hall of Famer of big value called him Charlie Hustle. This guy here is he's something. I mean, he really is. Pete Rose should definitely be allowed to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. Let's see if the Joes and the Michaels and the Mikes
Absolutely.
and the Henrys of the whole world.
It's like the due process. He's being deprived of a sort of like a due
And
process.
you know, and look what they've done with Ray Rice and, you know, in football. I mean, here's a guy that you see on camera that he slugged his way totally, terribly, you know, I mean, you can't even, it's appalling to watch it. And here's a guy that,
He's this guy again?
Ray Rice,
Yeah, sure.
running back
Yes.
for the Baltimore Ravens
Right.
at the time. He just smacks his wife, knocks her out, okay? He gets suspended for 2 games. He is allowed to be attainable by NFL teams. He's allowed to be, you know, to get a job. He's not blackballed from the NFL. He's not, you know,
Yes.
Pete Rose is, you know, he's expelled from Major League Baseball with the, you know, Hall of Fame.
I understand.
He can't get a job in Major League Baseball. He can't be a pitching coach, a hitting coach, or, you know, anything. He can't do anything in there. Where Ray Rice was not 2-game suspension. I mean, a guy that, you see it on
I
camera,
agree.
he
I
beats the heck out
understand.
of his
I
wife.
understand.
For his
Despicable.
fiance.
Sure.
Yeah, despicable.
Yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to work again.
No, absolutely
And
not.
not as a public, in the public where children are to look up to him and things like that. Or at least he should undergo some extensive counseling, you know. and
Well,
publicize
absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
All right, so, my questions earlier, which were, getting back to Pete Rose and this connection that he had with Dominic Basso in Florida, we already agreed that you don't want to go too much further on that.
No.
Let me ask you this. After the decision's made and it's final, whether Pete Rose can be judged on whether or not he should go on to the Hall of Fame or not, once that's resolved, provided the outfit Contact in Chicago that Dominic Basso worked for is dead, and you wouldn't be hurting the person. At some point in the future, might you be willing to share who that individual was?
Well, I guess that's for you and I to discuss at a later date.
Okay.
Is that satisfactory?
Granted, and I know you would only consider it if you were certain it wouldn't hurt anyone today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We never
All right,
hurt anyone.
let's agree on that. I will talk to you in the future
Okay.
about that and see
That's
how you
something
feel about it.
you know that we have a communication,
Yeah.
you know, we
Yeah,
have,
sure.
we have
We have an
a
open line of communication.
open line of communication, and we continue that, and
Sure.
you want to talk about that at
Sure.
a future date? Yeah.
Do you feel like telling any of us what you've been up to for the last couple of years?
Other than gaining weight?
Well, you're not gaining too much weight.
No, nothing. I haven't been up to anything.
You want to talk a little bit about your personal life?
No, I prefer
Yeah.
not to. I prefer
Okay.
not to. That's okay.
Everyone's well?
Everybody's
good?
well, my family is doing well.
Great.
Everybody that I'm most
Yeah.
concerned about is doing very
They're doing
well.
well. Good, I'm glad to hear that. We covered the Pete Rose thing. Do you want to just put it to rest right here, and we could...
Yeah, we could do that if you'd like. I mean, there's, I think that at a future date when you and I could talk more on a impersonal, or a personal.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah,
Let's put together
I would like to do that
a
with
structured
you.
format.
Right.
Bring in another person that knows
Exactly.
sports better than I do, and let's have some good conversation.
Not so much that, I'm comfortable with talking to you about it. I would just like to be able to go over things with you.
Sure.
I would like to talk about
Okay.
while we're,
So you're willing to come back on the Joe Fosco Show as a
Absolutely.
guest?
absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Glad to see
Great
you
to
and
see
have
you.
you here.
Yeah.
All right.
You need a shave there.